is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is a drill. This is not a drill.
Hey guys, this is Julian. Welcome back to Fix Your Project Live, the stream where I take your project files, flip them around, and make them into better versions of themselves. We have a few submissions today. If you want to submit for next month's stream, we don't take submissions day of, but you can submit for next month on Patreon, patreon.com/JulianGray. You can learn all about it there, and you can get your project in for next time so we can work on it. So essentially, we open your project file, I fix it up, send it back to you, and you be on your merry way. And that's just how this story goes. So without any further ado, we have 4 tracks today, I believe. 4 submissions for this month's stream. Let me know in the chat that everything is cool. I think we should be good to go, but it's always helpful. Might be a little bit quiet. I'm gonna turn myself up. Let me know if this is too loud now. Probably not. Somewhere in that range, yeah. Cool. All right, so we have 4 tracks today, 4 submissions that is, and we're gonna get to them in just a second here. Again, if you want to submit for next month, make sure to go to patreon.com/JulianGray. You can find out more details there. All right, so without any further ado, let's hop into this and get started on these project files because we have a few of them to get through today. Okay, so first off is Dustin Rosada. This is called Love Phaser, and it's an Ableton Live 10 project, so we're opening it in Live 10, and we should be good to go. Have everything set up today. Should be completely smooth. These streams are never completely smooth, but you know, hopefully this will go as planned. And just out of the gate, there's some stuff I'm missing. We should be fine though. Looks like he's frozen a lot of the stuff that we're missing. Let's go ahead and give this thing a play. Cool. Sound's getting through. A little quiet. By the way, those sirens are not in the song, those are outside. Sorry. Oh, you know what it is? There we go. I was like wondering why it sounded so weird. There. Alright, I'm gonna start that over because I accidentally had the same sound doubling up and it was phasing. Ironically enough, the title of the track is Love Phaser. Let's go ahead and play that back. I was wondering why everything sounded so like weird and phasey. Super nice to listen to, though. The melodies are awesome. You know, you're the second person I've ever seen use Afraid of Bees plugin. So out of the gate, I have one comment about this part. So you have this like cool dotted eighth groove, the dun 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 dun, and then you switch it to a straight 16th note pluck here. I don't know if this is the best decision because you're kind of implying to the listener that this is the groove of the song, and then switching the groove up like that is really difficult to get away with. Especially when it's, you know, similar in speed. It's almost like when you build up in halftime and then you drop in double time, it feels awkward. It's kind of a similar vibe here where I would just kind of commit to one or the other of these, either go full dotted eighth or go with like the straight up 16th, because right now it's a little bit distracting. Because I'm going for that like dun 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 dun. Like that cool groove, and then when you switch it, you know, I lose that groove. I think you might have another layer in there doing it as well, but the switch contrast here is a little bit much. So right now, I think the mix that you have going on here is creating this really ambient and ethereal feeling. I think that it could do with a little bit more weight, which is like volume in your bass and your kick. Right now, it feels very floaty, which can be a good thing too. I mean, if that's what you're going for, but I personally think that it needs a little bit more anchorage in the bottom. So we'll start by going to your drums, trying to find your kick. That's your kick, okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this low pass or high pass. I don't agree with people that say you need to do that. I think that it's kind of pointless. I think that the most important thing about a good kick is that the transient doesn't linger too long. You never want your transient of, you know, one kick to drift into the next kick. That's the one thing that's important. I don't think that high passing it is really all that important because you need that low end for like big club systems anyway. All right, there's that, and then let's go ahead and. Okay, so this is like your top percussion. And it seems that your delay is just copying the pattern over and over. It's not really a delay. more than it is like just duplicating. But what this is causing is like you're taking this sound, and let's say like because this is an an 8-beat delay or whatever, you're delaying over top of the next adjacent clip, and it's creating phase problems here. So I don't know if you really even need this delay. I don't think it's really doing that much. It's just making the sound a little bit more phasey because you're putting it slightly off time, and it's just delaying over itself. I would say personally lose the delay. So we have the kick and the highs. I'm gonna call this like high end. And then for your snare, I'm gonna let some more of that high through. I don't think you need to low pass it as much as you are. And then for that anchorage that I'm talking about, let's just go ahead and boost the low end a lot. So let's take this to like -5 instead of 8. Maybe the whole group could come up. Yeah, because I kind of want some more snare too, to be honest. Actually. So just by turning these up, we've already made this feel much stronger. Let's put some of this other percussion in here and see what they're doing. I can hardly hear that. What is that? Oh, it's like minor percussion to support the snare. So I would say just lose some of this low end on this guy, because it really is just support percussion. It looks like you chopped up a loop. Just doesn't need to be there, and it's kind of clearing. It's clouding up the space that the snare is inhabiting. Let's see what this is. Cool. Very Julian Gray-esque. Let's see. Yeah, nice. Actually, I like this how it is, but I'm going to try a little bit more compression, and I'm going to put a reverb in front of it. I don't know if you have Valhalla room, so I'm just going to try a built-in reverb. It's fine. We'll just make it like, 20% and make it high quality. The K time could probably be around a second. That's probably fine. Maybe a little bit more wet. I'm gonna try to get closer to that so you don't have to keep playing the whole clip. Maybe more decay time. Yeah. Let's lose the chorus and the diffusion. And then I'm just gonna compress this. Like a lot. So you can get that cool, 80s reverb tone. We're basically trying to flatten the decay of the snare reverb into the snare itself, so it all sounds like one big tone. Just playing with the effects here. I don't love the built-in reverb, but it's better than you not having it, so. All right, we'll play the drum group again, see how it sounds. Too loud. All right, and then I want to just take the bass and toss that in here too, so we can get these playing nicely together. And then, back to my previous point, I would commit to one of these two grooves. I wouldn't use both. Let's for now use this one because I think this is the more prominently used one. So I do have serum. So I think the resonance on here is hurting the integrity of the sound. I'm just going to turn that down. It seems like you might be automating it. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I think it's a bit much. Maybe we can keep the automation because it seems like you were doing it on purpose and just kind of turn it down. I think it's just too much right now. And apologies guys if I'm like seeming like a little out of it and tired today. I got my COVID vaccine like a day or two ago and I'm really like exhausted. But the show must go on. See how like reducing that resonance made that feel stronger? And then rather than going so low with this, let's go ahead and open up this filter a bit more. So we have a little bit more play here. Something like that. Now ideally I would move this to a macro so that you have, let's see, that's too much. I would move this to a macro so you have freedom to sound design while not having to, you know, keep moving it in envelopes because it's a pain. That's better. Still think the resonance is too much though. I'm gonna turn that down. That like becomes more together when we add that, or reduce the resonance. Okay, that's cool. Let's see what else you got on here. I don't know if this is even doing anything. Okay. Maybe one of these is. Or do you have something on the group? No? This is like oddly like muted. It doesn't feel like it has the full energy. Let's lose this stuff. Where is that going to? And why does it sound so muffled? Yeah, like I can't move this without having to adjust it in here, and that's like really bad practice. You definitely want to use a macro so you can freely sound design without having to, you know, sound design by using envelopes, because this is a real pain. Just gonna give it some volume. And let's put that with our drums. Lose the high pass again. Maybe instead of a sine wave on your octave down, we can use a saw. Like this. Sorry, wrong one. You know, I'm just gonna do this for you because it's much better. And I can't keep sound designing like this, it's just wasting time. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah. Same for the resonance. yeah, never, ever, ever automate your filter and resonance like there. Always do it through a macro. And then we can just go on the resonance channel and delete. And this is still sounding muffled to me for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. That's it sound much sharper than it currently is. Oh well, that'll have to do for now. Oh, we definitely don't want it mono. Velocity. No. Let's not do this too. Let's give us some sustain. Yeah, it's better. Cool. I like that much more. All right, this has got to go. And then on this one, I'm just going to high pass this all the way up here. So you only get that the phasey stuff. Why don't we do that too? A little bit of voices. Add some nice width. And then instead of doing it mono here, what we'll do is we'll do a utility, and we'll make mono only for the bass. Alright, let's put this with the drums now. Let's move your side chain to the end of this chain. And I'm going to make sure this is really tight, so I'm going to crank up the ratio to like 4 or 5 to 1. And I'm only going to listen for the click of the kick drum. like much of a cut that is. I'm gonna reduce that a little bit. Oh, so you're actually grabbing from a sidechain trigger. I'm just gonna grab from your kick actually. So that way we have the shortest possible trigger click, and then we can just make the release longer. And I would wager that we probably have a few more examples of this side chain that we could probably replace with that particular chain I just made, but I'd rather just move it to the group. Maybe we can put it on like the other instruments too, like let's put this piano back in. I don't know what this is actually doing. That's nice, man. Okay, sidechain after compressor, like you had it. I'm just gonna compress this a little bit more. Okay, and then, you know, we could probably apply this to a few other things too, like this M1. Yeah, nice. A little over compressed now. That's beautiful, man. Okay, and without just like focusing on these two things for the whole time, I'm just gonna play it in context now, and I'll just apply the sidechain settings to anything I find, and then we'll do it as we listen so we can get through this one really quickly. Very sloppy. Just needs a little bit of high passing. Yeah, just to clear some of that muck in the bottom. And then I'll just, you know, paste the sidechain on there that's tighter. Mids group could use some high pass too, I think. And just a little bit of this. And then your main hook, I'm gonna do a little bit of processing on there too. I think this needs some compression actually. I think it's like -2. And then I think for the most part, the mix is sounding much stronger now. I just want to try a little bit of limiter on the master, and then we'll call this one a wrap, because I think this is sounding pretty mint. I'm just going to try a Pro L2 fab filter. Really good at compressing stuff like this. Let's skip to like where it really comes together. Piano is so beautiful, man. Great job on that. Some melodic discrepancies here you probably want to address, but for the most part, too many things here. See, and like this drop, I was expecting to go back into the double time, like 16th note thing, so just bear that in mind, maybe address that. Drops have this huge like Eric Prydz energy now. I love it. All right, that's Love Phaser by Dustin Rosada. Love that one. It's probably one of my favorite ones so far. We have a few more here today. Let's get to these. Next up is Guard Data. It's called FOV Multiplier 1.25. I wonder what that entails. Let's get this thing open. Everybody give a round of applause in the chat for Dustin Rosada. Great track. Again, excuse my yawns and my exhaustion today. I'm I'm definitely on the tired side. I don't know if it's vaccine stuff or if it's, just general exhaustion from a lot of projects I'm working on right now, but I'm just very drained today. Yeah, Dustin, thanks for submitting it, and no problem, man. If you guys ever submit your projects and you have like a time crunch, just let me know and I can put them in the front. All right, now is FOV Multiplier by Guard Data. Multiplier 1.25. I don't know if that's like version 1.25 or like I don't know if it's part of the track title. Whatever it is, welcome Guard Data. Let's check this out. Definitely channeling the No Mana here. That sample is like the laser beam sample. loop after that. So it seems like a early idea. I don't know if it's a remix or something, like a bootleg of Laser Beam by No Mana, but those are the same vocal chops that he used in Laser Beam, so I'm assuming it's related. The production kind of sounds like his stuff too. But we're gonna just treat it as it is, as a original song, and I'm gonna try to make some improvements if we can. I think that for the most part, your mix is sounding pretty good. Your kick is like clipping to death. I'm gonna try to address that. You're like, you're pushing +6 here, and then I don't even know what volume on your group. But I wonder how this sounds if we just neutralize it to 0. It's definitely stronger at +6, but it's so destroyed. I'm just gonna maybe +3. I think all that extra volume is actually just here in this kick boost. Because you're boosting so much at this like sub 40, you're actually diminishing the high end on this. So like there's only so much signal to go around. I've explained this in previous streams before. But if you have a curve like this, it's exactly the same fundamentally as a curve like this, give or take a few decibels. So like when you're looking at the meter here, it's like, you know, here's 0 decibels, +6, +12, -6, -12. And, you know, if you have, let's say 100 hertz at whatever this is, negative, let's just make it 12. And then, you know, your 40 hertz is at whatever this is, like 0. It doesn't matter whether this is at -6 and this is 0, or if this is at 0 and this is at +6. The ratio is still the same. And what that means is that if you do a curve like this, you're fundamentally doing this with the exception of, you know, those 6 decibels of gain. So what you're doing is, I think, right here, is you're boosting so much here that it's inadvertently lowering the volume of all the high-end stuff, and you're compensating by adding 6 decibels here, which is pushing the low end extremely loud, like plus, I don't know, +12 or something, which is way louder than it should be. A better solution to this is to really just do this. You know, make this curve less aggressive. If anything, we can do some subtractive EQ, pull out some mids. Something in that range. And then if we tighten up our sidechain a little bit, I bet you that the kick will come through a little bit more. We're also in this point where a lot of stuff is way too loud, and it might be detracting from the strength of the kick, because we're already pushing the kick so loud. So I think this is your bass, if I'm not mistaken. Do you ever turn this on? Okay. Let's make sure we're not clipping. It's just very bad practice. Hello, Haley DJ. Welcome to the chat. So I've discussed this in length before, but just making sure this kick is only grabbing the shortest possible length of the kick is very important, so that we can really fine-tune how long we're sidechaining. Also, this is the wrong key, because this is the right key here at F, and then you go up to this G sharp, which is like the wrong key, and it's also not working with this. So I would say just, you know, linger on that F like that. Maybe I'll just move this sidechain to the bass group. So we're really crushing it. Now, ideally, if we were to look at this through, you know, like an audio channel, and we looked at how this looks, it should look like there's a small gap in between each place where a kick would be. So you see how we've generated essentially what is a reverse kick. So like, for example, a kick has a shape that starts loud here and then goes down gradually. This is like starting gradually quiet, getting to its loudest point around here. That's ideal because your kick is like right here, and you want your kick to, you know, punch through, and you don't want your bass to be in the way. So this is exactly what we want. We want our kick to be completely alone in those spaces, free from any bass to really distract from it. So, and the sidechain is looking good. If you ever need a visual aid as far as like what your sidechain is actually doing, it's really easy to just resample and grab your bass group and then just freeze it to audio like this. And then you have, you know, a very visual aid of like, this is why it works. So this is extremely low. I don't know if you really need this one. What I will do though is roll off any mids and highs that you have, just so, you know, this has become only a sub. It's really all it needs to be. So this is not a sub, this is like a high pad bass. And then we can, you know, high pass this a little bit too, as to not distract from the other texture. Yeah. Alright, let's put the kick back. Yeah, like much freer that is now, just because there's sidechain space. So that's sounding a little cleaner now, I think. I'm gonna reduce the release time on this bass so that we have a little bit more, or a little bit less pump. Okay, so that resolves a lot of the issues I have with the drop. I don't have your black hole. I'm assuming you're doing like a delay or something on here. What I'm gonna do is just grab a Valhalla room, and I want to show you a cool trick here that I think would make this much cooler. You're probably doing it with black hole, but I don't have it, so I don't know. But if you set this to like, you know, 4 seconds or something, and then you automate your mix, so you're getting really wet right before the drop, and then you dry it out, you can have this really cool building effect. we could do the same with delay too. That delay on the laser beam is way too long. Something like that could be cool. Let me find laser beam really quick. That's like ridiculous amount of delay. Okay, yeah, that's 10 seconds. I would say like 4 max. Hello, Fuzzy. Okay, so I think everything's a bit too loud. Just gonna turn everything down a bit. Laser beam. And on our master, we can take this ozone and really push it. So let's hear how that sounds. Okay, this guy too, the same thing with the reverb, I think could be cool. See the contrast between that super reverb part and the really dry part? It's like what makes Jordan's stuff so sick. Yeah, okay, so that's still the wrong note. I'm assuming that's what you were going for. And let's make these less short. Let's like legato these out. And we'll make it short with an LFO instead. So we'll do like envelope, and then we'll make this like a... Going for that no mana, maybe like a second oscillator with a little bit of FM, like could be cool. Oops, something like this. how that sounds in mix. And maybe to make this even more interesting, like every 4 bars we can sweep like the FM a little bit, so we have like a cool motion. Especially in that drop, that's kind of neat. And like the last song we just worked on, I would say commit to either this groove or this groove. Don't like interchange them, because you're just gonna distract the listener. Like you wanna grab like a groove that they can keep listening to. Try this too, like a little bit of pitch mod every like few beats. Maybe even some like stereo width in form of unison, like. That's basically electro house. It's not super difficult. It's all in like the sound design. So this is like way too much groove. Like you need to commit to a 4-bar phrase and then repeat it over and over. It's kind of why I went with this one here. So I'm thinking maybe you can try this. I'll just keep one of these in here as like as a backup in case you want to revert, but I think this will be much stronger. And then as for these, I'm just going to disable these with an aux source. So I'll do like macro 1. And macro 1 controls how much these are controlled by the LFOs. So like if macro 1 is down all the way, none of these LFOs are going to affect the source signal. If the macro is up all the way, all of these are 100%, getting the full control of the LFO. It's kind of complicated, but you know. They put it like halfway down for this part. And a high pass on it or something, sweep it up, and then at the end we just kind of drop it out. Okay, cool. So here we go. I think this is all I'm gonna do on this one because it's already sounding fire. I don't want to like harp on it. What you can also do is like a little bit of gain automation, like right before the drop, so that the drop hits a little bit louder, like that. I swear it'll help your drops come through more. Cool. Getting ahead of myself, but I would add like a hi-hat too, like a add a lot of energy in the second half right here. Screw it, let's do it real quick, and then I'm calling it for this one because it already sounds good. And then we have one more I think downloaded. Standard 909 for now. Easy. And, you know, as you can see, it really fills it out nicely. All right, that is FOV Multiplier. Super cool. It's like laser beam by No Mana, but not. But we successfully made it more into a No Mana song, but I think that's what you're going for, so hope you dig that. The third one is Eldon, Twilight. And I think this is the last one of the day because the fourth one, the download link didn't work. And I reached out and I have not gotten a response back. So, let's see if this one will open. Hello? Hope you guys are doing well. I always love to do these streams because I get to hang out with you guys, which I usually don't. I'm always so busy. But I've made it a point to do these streams every month so that, you know, I can hang out with my YouTube friends and family without having to make videos all the time because I'm always I'm always busy with music stuff these days. I haven't allocated the time to YouTube that I used to. All right, Eldon, Twilight. Eldon's one of my mentees. I do one-on-one sessions with him, and he's an incredible musician. Let's hear this thing and check this out. I'm doing very well. I have a lot of amazing stuff to announce in a few weeks. Probably not even a few weeks. I have some stuff coming out in July that your guys are going to appreciate, I think. And yeah, you'll hear more about it soon. But been super stressed out with that, but other than that, I've been fine. All right, here we are. This is Eldon Twilight. He's at a point now where I don't have much to fix. So let's go ahead and see. I started with Mark 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and he's grown so much as a producer since we started. So I can already tell most of what we're fixing is mix. Like, the production's fine. One of my main critiques right now, I think that needs to be addressed, is that the bass is lingering on this root note, and the progression of the other elements is moving around. And I feel like it feels like you're anchored to this one note, but the rest of the song is moving away from it. So there's some points where it feels harmonically weird. It works on the first note right here, as you can see. So like, because that first chord in like your chord is the right, da, which is your root note, and then the octave below that is the da, and that's what you have in the bass. Da da. But then if you notice, the chord moves here. It moves the da, but we're lingering on the bass. It should be da, da. It's just lingering on the same note. So we're gonna have to either move that, or we're gonna have to switch the bass out. And it does this for the latter three chords of this progression here, as you can see. So the first note's fine. These ones we need to address. So what I'm gonna do, I'm confident that the rest of the arrangement's similar, and it's probably really good because I work with him a lot. What we need to do is just transpose these secondary ones into a different note. So what I'll do is I'll take your bass, I'll duplicate it so you have a backup. And then what I'll do is flatten. And then we'll color these separately so we know. This is like, let's say green. This one's blue. This one's yellow. Because we're going to use these over and over again, and I don't want to have to keep redoing this. So, let's see. So, we can very easily figure this out if we look. You know, this is F. We have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Then we have to do 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, and then we have to do 5 down. 4, 7, 5. So if we go in here, the first one is -4. And I just want to make sure this is set to complex or complex pro. And the next one, let's do complex pro, -7. And then the third one, I think if I'm not wrong, it was -5. And what I'm looking at is obviously, the difference between the root note, which is here, and then the next one. So double checking 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, 5, 6, 7, -7, 4, 5, -5. So 4, 7, 5. And that should be reflected here. -4, -7, -5. And then I'm just going to move this down to be with the sub, and I'm going to do the same thing on the sub channel. So I'm going to make this green, make this one blue, make this one yellow, and then we'll do -4, -7, -5. And then, with any luck, these chords will now play in harmony with the bass. If we solo this with the chords, yeah. You see how much better that feels now that it's in key rather than not? Let's compare it to the one that's not. Not in key. Key is the wrong word. Following the same progression. So you end up with this weird dissonance because the notes don't exactly match. If we just paste it in. Much better. Cool, and I'm going to do that for each of these. Makes the music work much better. Tidris, welcome. Thanks for the Mac Mini. I got it right there. I got Snow Leopard on it. I was trying to do a Catalina patcher. It's officially compatible with the Catalina patcher, but I can't use it because there's not enough RAM. So I bought some replacement memory because we're not going to get any use out of it with 1 gig. So I bought a really cheap kit of 8 gigs of DDR3, and I'm going to try to get at the very least El Capitan, which is the last officially Apple supported OS on there, and then and then from there we can figure out if we can do the higher ones. But we need at least, I think, El Capitan to get OBS working on it or something like that. I don't know if Tidris is even here right now, but I'm kind of talking to myself. So I'm going to do the same for these guys because these are the same problem. I'm going to grab these blue. Oops. And we're going to transpose these guys in the same way. So let's see if we can figure this out. So this one's -7. Oh, I'm sorry, -4. Complex Pro. This is -7. And when you're writing, guys, make sure that you're using, the appropriate key, or the appropriate note to correspond with the chords, and make sure that all your notes are in key. Okay, so this one is -7. Super low. No, wait, that one's 4. My bad. I think that's it. Yeah. This one's 7. 2, 3. That's super low, but it'll feel good on a sub. And then this one is 5. And just to double check that, I'm just going to compare it here. Yep, that's right. Cool, so now we have transposed the bass into the appropriate key, and it flows much better with the progression. I'll just paste these in where they belong, like that, easy. When you have automation lock on, there's no worry of like overwriting automation either, so I can just copy them in. Like that, and there we go. So now we have corrected all of the pitch inconsistencies that were not following the progression, and I think it's going to work much better now. So I'm thinking one thing we could try is instead of going down 7 on the second time around, we can go up the difference. So what would it be? 7, it would be up 5. This might be too much, but we can try it. Make a different color here. And this is experimental, like we've already fixed it. Now I'm just trying different things to make it a little bit more interesting. Make this more of a, 8-bar progression instead of like a 4. And this one, we'll just take this up an octave now. So this time it goes up to the next octave version of that note, whatever it is, A sharp, instead of going down. So we'll play this whole progression through so you can hear it. Just gonna copy that over. Now the next issue is that the kick is extremely quiet. I don't even feel a kick in there at all. I'm just going to neutralize it to 0. I'm feeling he turned that down because it has a lot of punch in the high end. So maybe if we dial out some of the mid highs, we can address that. Let's get rid of 3 and just kind of scoop around 1K, maybe 2. This does have some sidechain on it, but it's definitely not enough. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a different sidechain compressor on our bass group. This is the most essential thing to sidechain. I think everything else is sounding pretty fine, but I just want to make sure that we get that. So I'll do, instead of doing ghost kick, I'm just going to do the regular kick. Ghost kick isn't super necessary. Ratio all the way up, attack all the way down, EQ for the high end of the kick only. This is going to be really aggressive to start, but we can dial it in. That is now. Yeah, funky. All right, let's play that in the mix. stuff that's playing in the drops, that like this stuff can probably be sidechained just a little bit, not as aggressively as the bass. Yeah, T-Dog asks between the glue compressor and the normal compressor, is there a huge difference for side chaining? It's just depending on the tone that you like. So the primary function of side chain obviously is to cut or duck the volume of whatever channel it is based on another channel signal. So like you're going to put a side chain compressor, well, you're going to put a compressor on your bass and then side chain it to the kick channel, so whenever it hears a kick, it's going to turn the volume down on your bass. That's the idea. But fundamentally, that compressor has its own tone. So if you're using say an SSL compressor, it's going to sound different than using like Ableton's stock compressor for doing that, just because the way it crushes volume is different. But fundamentally, for things like this, where you're only really cutting at a very, very short amount of time and you're not compressing over an extended length of time, you're fundamentally not going to be running into a lot of tone discrepancy between the glue and the regular in Ableton. A lot of people use third-party tools like Kickstart or LFO tool, or what's the other one? There's another one, and it's on the tip of my tongue, but essentially a side chaining tool. And what they are is not even a compressor. They're literally just a volume dial that goes up and down in volume. And that just tells you like how functional side chaining is. It's less about the tone of the compressor you're using. It's more about just reducing the volume quickly. So I wouldn't worry too much about which compressor you're using for side chaining. I would worry about, what compressor you're using for summing. Like if you're putting a compressor on your chord group or your bass group or your drum bus, it's going to sound different if you use an Ableton stock compressor or a, glue compressor from Cymatics or Cytomic or whatever the heck it's called. Or like, let's say a Slate compressor or like a FabFilter Pro L. They all have different tone. But for something as short as like volume modulation, basically for side chaining reasons, I wouldn't even worry about it. Volume shaper is the one. Yeah, like Nick said. That clap is way too quiet too. I don't love this clap. It doesn't have a lot of high end. Maybe it's this, but it's more like a mid sound effect sound than it is like a snare. I would try to swap that clap out for something. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 vibes. I don't know if you guys ever played that. yeah, man, I don't have any more critique for this. I think that the mix adjustments we've made, the main thing was like that kick was like a -10 or something. We had to turn that way up to 0, and now it's really bumping. The other thing was getting those bass lines in key, and I keep saying key, in progression, following the progression of the chords and then the other instruments. I think that really helped a lot to anchor the rest of the song down. You always want your bass line to move with your other instruments. It's like if you're in a rock band, your bass player doesn't linger on the F the entire song if the key is an F. You got to make sure that that bass line is moving with your guitar and your other instruments. All right, so that is Eldon Twilight. I don't have any more tracks for today. We had a 4th submission, but the link didn't work. I guess I can migrate that to next month if we figure that out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're new here watching, if you want to send in a track next time for me to work on and like quote unquote fix, make sure to check out the link in the description, patreon.com/JulianGray. There's all the details there. Basically, $10 pledges and above get access to these streams. They get access to my whole discography. Granted, stuff that I've put out myself or remixes and stuff. I can't give out label stuff, unfortunately. And then you also get access to my Discord and the Patreon exclusive chat in it. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to take a few questions for the next few minutes, and then I'm going to wrap up this stream. This has been a good one. Ace submissions all around. I haven't had any bad ones today. Really, really good stuff. I'm going to compress these up and then send them off into the ether. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'll do this. Just webcam. Yeah. That way I can fix this up and then get it sent to you guys. And yeah, and obviously if you send in projects next time, you can always get your projects back, and then you can, release the project or whatever. I don't even need credit. All I need is your humble donations. But yes, I'm glad you guys liked the stream today. I think these are some of the best ones we've had in a long time. Really, really banging. That last one's a pop song. The one before that was a EDM hit. The first one was an incredibly cool track as well. I'm excited to check out the ones next month. So I'm zipping it up. If you guys have any questions, ask me now or forever hold your peace, because I'm about to wrap this thing. Also, I have a few announcements. I'm releasing a song early July. You'll hear more about that very soon. Keep an eye out on all my social media channels. First song in like almost a year. I know it's been a long time. And some other really cool stuff coming soon too that you'll hear about down the road a bit. But anyway, guys, I think that's gonna wrap this up. I'm Julian of Julian Gray Media. I'll see you guys next month or whenever I post another video. I don't know when that will be. But thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for sending me your projects to fix on the stream. I will talk to you guys in the next stream.